Okay, so Ahmet,
Yes. Hi, Michael.
hi. Nice to speak with you at last. We've interacted a lot over the Discord server recently. You've been very, very active in the community. I think if I look at the showcase channel, like the last 5 posts are all from you,
Yes.
sharing
And it will
your work.
continue.
Very good. Good to hear. So, yeah, this is like a bit of an impromptu session that we're doing right now because Ahmet has been working on a Flutter integration for Vendure, and I don't really know anything about Flutter, but he's been sharing snippets in the Discord channel. It looks really interesting. He's very enthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
That made me enthusiastic, and I wanted to learn about it. So, well, we're just going to kind of basically, you're going to show it off to me. I'm going to ask some kind of dumb questions, give you a chance to explain things, how it works, and maybe give a bit of a demo. And yeah, hopefully there will be people out there that this is very helpful for who want to develop mobile apps using Flutter.
Mhm. Well, sure. So first of all, I want to tell you very brief about the Flutter. Flutter is like a cross-platform iOS, Android, and also now it supports the web, but our main focus is mobile right now. It converts the code into its own native code. So it converts the code to Kotlin and Swift on iOS. So this is great because there is no performance loss or something on that. And because it's done by Google also, it has a great momentum over the years. So like last 4 or 5 years. And now it's really mature and it has all these great packets that you use, packages. So it is something like you would consider also like the Node and NPM packaging system. So the main thing here we're talking about is the pubdev, where people will also find our Vendure package. So
so this is like the NPM for the Flutter ecosystem.
Exactly. And all the packages they support, like they work both automatically on the Android and also on the iOS. So there's no distinction between that. So you only have one code base and it works on both of them. So this Vendure package, which I am the maintainer of this package, and basically this is making the development super easy. And I implemented all of the shop API methods here. And so you don't even need to do any, like nobody needs to do anything extra. And I also even added the custom methods too. So there is I will show you an example of that. So you just can query or mutation any GraphQL inside in there, and you get the data back as you would want to. So you can basically use this for the whole needs on the mobile.
So and let's just take a step back because I think some viewers who watch this and they've not looked into Flutter yet, they might be thinking, why do I need what's the use case for like a mobile only app or mobile only approach? Why do I not just have like my website and make it responsive?
Well, first of all, the mobile has other perks, like having precise GPS location of the user directly within the app. Notifications, like customer will receive a notification to their phone, like your order is shipped. So when you're thinking about e-commerce, the mobile experience is a lot baked into the devices itself. And devices also has this beautiful like UI layouts and UI elements that you cannot do with HTML. So in terms of the UI wise, it is definitely like a way much crispier, better experience for the user, because it's almost like there are many possibilities to do with the UI. And also like you listen on streams directly, which you cannot do on, you can kind of do it with the WebRTC now, but I mean, still, it's not like as streamlined as it is on the app. So
okay.
And also I am using intents. Like intent is when you share with, so let's say that you are on a different website, and when you say share, like my app receives that intent. Intent is like when you click on the share button. So
and it opens up your app from like a link.
Exactly. And I can do whatever I want within the content of that link.
Mm-hmm.
So this opens up, like, as I told you before, like you can have an image. And when you say, like, I want to buy something similar to this, you just say share. And I am able to get that image and able to process and find a cloth similar to that image. You cannot do that with web.
Okay, good. Now my next question then is, we have a lot of, I think a lot of people using Vendure are on the front end using a React framework like Next.js or Remix. How do you have any experience with React Native?
No, zero.
Okay, because I was going to ask, what are the pros and cons when one's thinking about choosing between Flutter or React Native?
Here's what I can tell you. Like, some things catch up on specifically, like Node caught up with on the backend development. Like Flutter is the cross-platform thing for it. Like that is the thing. You understand? Like React Native, now it lost its steam. Like people are choosing Flutter, and Google is heavily invested on this, like financially as well. And like that makes it like the Flutter the first choice for cross-platform development.
So you think Flutter's just got more momentum behind it right now?
Yes, and it became the de facto right now. Like for anyone who starts brand new, it has more advantages than the React Native. That's what I think.
Okay, interesting. So this is why I'm excited to have a look then at what you've got right here. So maybe you can just give us a demo or however you want to do it.
As I showed you, so pub/spec YAML is kind of like our package.json. It's kind of the same thing. You add your package. Our package is Vendure, now on the version 1.2.2. And when the package is installed, we have this, there is this initialization method. So I simplified everything to this instant. So basically, when you import it, like I say, like Vendure as Vendure SDK. So when you say Vendure SDK dot, then you have the Vendure as the actual client. And when you say dot, we have the option to initialize. So this is basically just, you can initialize with a static token. So let's say that you are doing a B2B and you don't need these token refreshes or something. You just want, you have a simple B2B site. You don't care about these authentications. You can do that. You can have initialize with the native auth, which is the current authentication for the username and password, the vendor's current authentication system, the native auth. And you basically just put your endpoint, your URL, and username and password of the user, and then it authenticates. And it does the token refreshes automatically. So your session duration, what you used on the Vendure config, you put the same number in here. You just define like days 1. So basically this makes your session duration 1. So this way I ensure that your session, once I receive your session, it does this. If your session is about to expire, it goes and authenticates you again. So it gets you the new session token. So you don't need to handle any of the authentication at all. So it is just one step on the initialization.
That's really nice.
Yes. So this is, I would say, like this saves a lot of time for anyone who wants to get this into the mobile, because that's the real pain, to do it right. And I did it right, and it works flawless. And here I am using on my app as with the Firebase auth. So as you see here, this is initializing with the Firebase auth, and I just get my endpoint and the event ID. So Firebase updates the tokens, its own tokens every 1 hour. So I am listening this stream. So whenever this event, like the ID token changes, so when the token changes on Firebase, I get this token, and this my vendor instance gets this updated token, and then it sends back to the vendor server with this new token, and I get a new Vendure token.
Okay.
So
I think I'm following.
yes, so that's the way to do it. But the good thing is it's all automatic. Like you just need to listen. If you are using Firebase, you just need to listen this, and I shared this on the docs, and that's it.
And then on your Vendure backend, you then need to have your Firebase integration installed and configured on the server side, right?
There is no configuration. You just, you just install the plugin that I also made, the Firebase auth plugin, and you don't do anything. You just upload one file, the configuration file, which has your secret to connect to the Firebase system. And with that single file, it does it by itself. It has all the credentials inside it.
Oh, by the way, we didn't mention it specifically, but Flutter is written in Dart, right?
Yes, it is Dart, and it is very similar to JavaScript.
Yeah, I can see that it's similar. And also, as you're typing, the IntelliSense looks really nice, and also you kind of get a glimpse into the standard library with this duration object, and it looks quite full-featured. Would you say how does it compare to like the JavaScript kind of standard library?
Well, I love it, to be honest. Like it is strongly typed, and it is null safe, so it is really like it doesn't make you too much surprises as JavaScript would do. So
is the authoring experience kind of similar to using TypeScript then, with like strict mode?
It's similar to that, I would say.
That sounds nice. I think everyone likes that then.
Yes. So this is my use case. So where I use this use case is I will show you on. Okay, so let's go on a page that I actually use this. Okay, so I have this repository called data order repository and data customer repository. These repositories are the actual implementation of my interfaces. That's how you would think about it. And on my data customer repository, as you see, and which I'm also planning to share these as well as like a template on GitHub, so that people also don't even need to write these either. So as you see, like you only call it like this, static final. You just say vendor.instance, and that's all. This is how you call a Vendure SDK. So we initialize it once in the app, and then when we call it, it automatically gets that specific instance. So this also prevents the memory issues or anything you would have. And basically, what I do is on here, I basically click on vendor, and when I click that, this has all these. I categorize them like auth, catalog, custom, customer, order, system. So let's see some of these methods. When I click on customer and that, I have the create customer address, delete customer address, get active channel, get active customer, get current user. So when I say create customer address, the input, and I use the GraphQL code gen to generate all these types. So these are completely automatically generated types from the actual vendor schema. So you are 100% sure that it matches. So it's not like what I did it. It is something that is automatically done.
Good. Anything code gen for the type.
Yeah. So there is no room for error.
Yeah.
So basically, you just say this, and the return type for this is the actual address. Let's, for example, check out that one. This address is also like this is exactly the data type from our like the vendor schema auto generator. A complete map of your vendor shop API into Dart. So what you might ask is that like, okay, Ahmet, but there are also things that are custom for people. So they might have some custom ends. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, this is only the shop API, but most of the people customize their SDK, which I am also part of them. So I tackled that problem. I'll show you that by, it all boils down to making a GraphQL query. So this is using the underneath of this, it is using the GraphQL to make these queries. Okay, so this is my use case. So in my use case, I say get vendor product by ID. But my project is comparing prices from different marketplaces. So I am keeping track of the price of the product from different marketplaces and also my backend. So I am saying users like, hey, this product is this much on this marketplace, this much on this marketplace, but hey, I sell it for this price. So they don't need to do the price comparisons. So that's why I use, and I love the vendor for that because it has all these channels, and on the product variant level, channel prices are kept in store. But on the shop API, I don't have a direct access to that. So that's why I did that channel prices plugin to be able to get prices from all channels on that specific product so that I can show users like, hey, like the price of this is this much on this much on this, but this much on ours.
Right. So you've essentially defined a new field on the product variant type. Is that right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And that field is called channel prices. And when I want to get that, so I created my own entity, the Zigzag product, which has this Zigzag variant. Zigzag is my entity name. And then within that, it has this channel prices. So if I go to the product variants, I have this, as you see, the list channel prices. So this is completely a custom field. So on this channel price, so on this completely custom entity that I have on my system. So this is not coming with the SDK itself. This is my custom. Everything is same except this. I have this extra field. And good thing about the Flutter is it also has these package called freezed. So this also does the code gen. So all the methods are being automatically generated as well. So this also does the whole to JSON, and everything is coded automatically. I just create the entity and that's it. So to get vendor product by ID returns a vendor product. So this is also something.
Sorry, just a quick question. Future, is that kind of like a promise?
Yes, same thing. Completely same. So within my data catalog repository, so this is the actual implementation for it. The other one is the interface. I call this method, so vendor.custom, and I say query. Actually, beneath all these other methods that I showed you, like the customer, order, catalog, actually all of them are all using this method as well.
Okay.
So this is the bare bones of how it actually works. Like everything boils down to.
So the other ones are basically just pre-configured with a specific query.
Exactly.
GraphQL document that it's going to send.
Yes. So which I made it to get the full fields, but also like you might want to have like a light product. You don't want to get the whole fields. Maybe you just need the IDs. So you create your own view, your own class, and within that class, you only define your own fields, and then you define this in the fragments. So this uses the get product by ID with all channel prices query. So when I go to this is basically my query. So if you want to do any custom thing, you just write your custom query as this. And this is my product with all channel prices is my fragment. And as you see, it is here. So the channel prices have the currency code, price, etc. So what basically you need to customize this is that it works with any fragment that you define. And then you just call this within this query. And this is your parameters as in a map of like a JSON.
Yeah.
And then what you do is, this is what which is really cool, is that you provide a from JSON method. So when you provide your from JSON method to this query, it returns your data with that data type.
Okay, so is it kind of like it takes the raw JSON and then is kind of hydrating an object, a class instance? Am I understanding that right?
So here's how it works. So this method, the query method, and same with the mutation method, is expecting a function, and this function is a from JSON function with the return type of what you defined here.
Okay, and this from JSON function, is this the one that you said is provided for you for free from this library that you're using?
The regular entities are already defined.
Okay.
And as I showed you, that library, freeze library, the CodeGen library, it does that. You're right. So my vendor product.json, I didn't implement this. It was done. I only wrote this line of code, and it was done like by itself. So so you run it once, like a GraphQL CodeGen, and it does everything, and it does it nestedly. So if it doesn't matter how many like other data types are inside, it does the from JSON and to JSON, also using all these nested, which is fantastic because my data can have lots of sub-nested data, and I don't even need to worry about any of it. I just write one line of code, and that's it. My assumption is that people who want to use this package, the vendor package, will also highly want to use this freezed package as well, which is kind of the GraphQL CodeGen for Dart. You just write your entity, and all your methods are implemented. So this is like the actual code. And as you see, there is this sanitized GraphQL query, and it handles the errors, and it normalizes the GraphQL data because the Dart works with camel case enums, and our enums are not camel case. It also does that operation as well. So you don't even need to have any issues about it. So that's also being done. And other thing is that when you define the vendor SDK instance, you can also define the GraphQL policies. Like for auth, I use like network only, so it is not cached. But you can also override the GraphQL policies for like, I want always like the never cached version of my product for some, maybe it is very price sensitive or something.
And is there a particular GraphQL client library that this is using like under the hood?
Yes, it has this like the GraphQL Flutter library, which is it's very similar to the Apollo. I'm not sure if it is exactly the same, but I did the heavy lifting. That's the whole thing. Like I'm showing these, but you don't even need to worry about like any of these. As I just show you, like here is my catalog repository, like vendor, catalog, get product by ID. That's it.
That's really nice. It's something we've been thinking a lot about also for the JavaScript world. Like, how can we offer an SDK which makes client development easier for whether that is for like storefronts or even for like kind of more of admin focused portals or whatever. And a lot of the ideas I've come up with very similar to like the direction you've gone with this, which is provide a kind of a default set of queries and mutations, and we kind of just have to make a choice on like what fields should be selected and whether we should kind of join relations and stuff. But then also in the full knowledge that a lot of people are going to want to supply their own queries, because I mean that's the power of GraphQL. That's one of the reasons, it's one of the selling points of GraphQL, right? You can just fetch the data that you need. So yeah, the way I was thinking was really similar to what you've done right here. Like provide some sensible defaults and then leave this kind of escape hatch where people can just do it exactly how they want to for specific queries. And the fact that you're handling all the auth stuff and the refresh tokens and all that kind of stuff, I think even for also the JS world is one of the big pain points as well. Especially when you start thinking about Next.js, for example, you have two kind of different contexts that it's running in on the server and in the browser. And to manage a session between the browser and the server, sometimes the code's going to render on the server, sometimes it's running in the browser, is a bit of a challenge as well. And you know, we've even spent a lot of time in our own Vendure apps that we're building with Next.js managing that. So to be able to package all of that hard-earned knowledge, painfully earned knowledge, into a package that and people can just download and just use it and never think about those issues is really valuable. It's great. Can we see something in action?
Yes. So this is actually like I go to like look for products. This is working on my development server. So I click on electronics. This is our sample data coming from there. Let's do some search on electronics. Let's search for camera. It is searching within the category, so I need to search.
Okay, that's why.
So this is the cameras. If I go to computers, what do I have here? Curve monitor. So let's search for. All right, so monitor. So it brings me the monitors. So I go to here, the product detail page, which I'm still working on. I say add to cart. It is added to my cart. And maybe I didn't do a refresh here. One refresh. So let's see it.
Everyone understands the demo effect.
But I need to restart. So that is.
There we see it.
1 second. Yeah. So I restarted it. So basically, I didn't add the listener on the add to cart yet.
Okay.
This is actually what I'm working today. And like when I say like increase the quantity, then it was subscribed and it was just like right now something is not updating on that. And here, this is my main search. So if I do like a search camera, it searches like camera list. This is all coming from like vendor actual like this the server. And
yeah, I recognize those products. I know them well.
Yes. And I wish we also have some products with longer names, because on the populated data, I think it would be nice to have some longer name sample.
Yeah. I need to do a German version, and then you would definitely have some long names.
Yeah, so, that's what it is. But the bottom line is, it makes the development so easy and very predictable. Like that's what we all strive for. Like it is predictable, and you know what you will get. And as I said, like I'm planning to also like share these use cases. So basically, like whatever you use, you will be only calling these like the repositories, and even those will be baked in as a GitHub. I'm planning to share as like a template for who wants to jump onto the Flutter.
Great. So let's round it up then now, because I think that was a very nice tour. I get an idea of the power of this that you've made, the amount of time it's going to save developers who want to build a Flutter app. That's obvious. What is the status then of the project? Is it like, can I start building a production app with this yet?
Yes, it is right now production ready, and it works good. Like, that's why I updated the numbering version to the 1 to 2 right now. I waited to it was a constant development over the last few weeks, and now I am confident that anyone can use this on production.
Fantastic. Well, I guess we'll release this video and get the word out there, and then maybe we'll see people joining the community of Vendure Flutter developers. That would be fantastic to see.
Sure. Yes, and I'm always here to help and ready to assist people if they have any questions about implementing this. I am on the Discord channel, Vendure, and yes, that's
great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your time. Thanks for all the work you've been doing in the open source community. It's very appreciated and very. We're very much aware of it in the Vendure team. Like we love your enthusiasm. So great to see what you've built so far, and I'm excited to see what you go on to build in the future.
Likewise, I am very happy to be part of this community, and I love contributing to this, and will continue on that.